This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and welcome to the Simpit Porsche Carrera Cup. Porsche Carrera Cup. Porsche Carrera Cup. And we are here for race 2 of week 1 in our new season of racing on Sim Racing System. And I am really looking forward to today's race. We spent some time in a setup shop earlier. We made some serious progress. Actually picked up over a second in lap time, which should be great. And I'm looking forward to see how that works in game. So we are moments away from qualifying, just enough time to kind of say hello and welcome you all to the show. And if you're just joining us, a little warning. Oh, sorry about that. I thought I heard somebody coming in. A little warning. Today is the hottest day of the year in Southern California. I am hot. I live by the beach, so while everybody else is dealing with 110, 115 degree weather in Southern California, I only have about 83 to 85 degrees, so I'm actually pretty comfortable. But we don't have air conditioning because we live at the beach, and you don't need air conditioning except for today. So I have a fan over there. There's another fan in the other room pushing air throughout the place. But it is hot, so I expect to be a little extra sweaty today, if I'm not already sweaty enough during races. Other thing going on, I seem to be catching a little bit of a summer cold. I've got some congestion that has been building up in my chest over the last couple of days, so I have a little bit of a cough, and I'd expect to see it at some point during the race, especially as my heart rate gets up and I get going. So we are here for the race at Spa, running in the new, well, not the new series. We are running in the Porsche Carrera Cup. I keep saying Cup because that's the name of my series. Porsche Carrera RSR 3-liter 3.0. This is a very famous car. This is the wide-body race version of a very street car. It is one of the winningest cars of all time. I mean, there is no denying the dominance of Porsche and the 911 when it comes to motor racing. And with my age, this car kind of fits right into things. So we are here for the race. If you watched yesterday, hopefully you watched, and today you're racing with us. If you watched yesterday, you might have noticed I am using paddle shifters. I'm going to stick with that today, and at the next race, I will try to get into the H pattern. So we'll work on that. And I covered some of that in the setup conversation earlier today in the earlier broadcast. Checking in on the timing, and we are just waiting for it to change sessions over to qualifying. So I'll keep talking for just a little bit longer about various things. One thing I regret is I will not be here next week. I'm out of town all of next week on vacation and will not be making the race. So you all will have to race on without me. Hopefully Sim Racing Systems will stream one of the races from just the fancy follow the action camera. No commentary. Today's race, as usual, will be my perspective of the race. I'll talk to you periodically and try to keep things full of action as best as I possibly can from my perspective. We will race hard, we will race clean, and hopefully not do what we did yesterday, which was be the guy who kind of screwed up turn 1. And I went right into the door of somebody else hit at me, I spun out and just brought it to a stop, let the whole field go by, and then got down to work and trying to make some passes and claw my way back up through the field. So yesterday was a fun race. I love Spa. I love this car. It's a real challenge. So between the two, it's already proven to be a little more exciting than the Mazda as far as people dealing with the conditions. The door-to-door racing might not be quite the same, but it is also week 1. I think our group will get more and more accustomed to this car over time. A little talk about today's setup. We did do a setup shop today, and I did make that setup available. They're going to cycle. I'm going to go ahead and switch us into the game camera. Here we go. But as I was saying, I did make that setup available to everybody. You could have watched me build it and taken notes, or if you emailed me, I was sending that setup up. So a couple of guys did hit me up, and I know they'll be running our setup for today's race. So once again, if you're here, thank you for joining us. We are here for Race 2, Week 1 in the Sim Racing Systems Simpit Porsche Carrera Cup. And this is, like I said, Race 2. We raced yesterday. Best finish of the 2 races, or if you only run one, and that is your points for the week. And we'll be running a 6-week-long season. Thank you all for the good luck wishes. I'm going to go ahead and get out in qualifying now. We did some audio adjustments earlier, so we'll be able to hear how the mix is, but chances are I'm not going to make an adjustment because I think we finally have it about right. If you missed yesterday's race, a few things are changed. We are using Sidekick. Somebody during the practice today recommended using the live tire temps, and I'm still trying to kind of figure out what the colors and things mean while I'm running on the fly. And I will confess, I've been very iRacing heavy over the last, let's call it 6 months. And this is sort of me. I reviewed it. I love Assetto Corsa, but this is me kind of getting deeply involved in Assetto Corsa and starting to get some of that next level knowledge that isn't just within the cover when you get the sim. Now this car is still sketchy, but we have made improvements that make the car a little bit better handling than it was for yesterday's race. But yesterday, I had a few moments that were very scary, and I had one moment at the end of the race where I gave away a position based on just completely making a mess of a corner. Oh, cold tires. I really seem to consistently miss that corner on cold tires. No worries. In that earlier stream today, I talked about taking your outlap, you know, somewhat seriously. Getting used to the car. Getting used to all the feeling. Making sure you're warmed up as much as the car. And then I go and do that, which is exactly what I was, you know, urging people to not do. There's a saying, those who can't, teach. I also learned that I really like taking a conservative line through here so that I can do a better job of getting back on the gas. And overall lap times, I did an interview with Mitchie Hoyer earlier asking about how you decide where to find that speed on the track in moments like that. Whoop. One thing I'm going to have to do is turn up my in-game volume because I'm not hearing it loud enough, preventing me from yelling at you. But robbing me of hearing some of the tires squeal and tire brakes that I need to hear. Brake lockup in this car is tricky. The car is inherently oversteery. The curbing can really mess with the car. All right, we're going to start our first time lap. Oh, a little hot into that corner. I like to keep it lower off of the turn there. Then I really swung wide at a straight line. Not even continuing to turn as much as I needed to. I'm going to go somewhat conservative. I did a lot of driving earlier, but I didn't do any warm-up, so this is a little bit of my warm-up, too. That's okay. Just a little brake lock-up. That's going to give it that oversteer effect. Had to twitch the wheel out of it. I'm being a little erratic right now. That was the one change I tried to make earlier in a driving session, was to just slow it down and smooth it out. Right now we're on a very slow lap, by the way. Just making a mess of every corner right now. That's all right. Really slippery if you touch that curbing on the gas right there. Oh, I am really missing my marks right now. I don't know what's going on. Like I said, I'm a little under the weather. I'm going to shut up for the next lap around. Oh, you know what else? I don't know if I loaded my correct setup. I didn't build a qualifying setup, so I was literally just running the race trim. Terrible lap. Looks like we're gridded up in 11th so far. Ooh. Oh, sent it in with a little oversteer that actually worked out right. It slid just enough. Getting a visual effect right there. It's making it a little hard for me to find my turn-in point, and it's causing a weird little fear like I've overshot the corner when I haven't, and then I'm afraid to turn in. Woo, a little loose there. This car has some torque. Ah. Ah. All right, 2:45.69. That's an improvement over yesterday. That is a full second off of what we're capable of, though. So I'm not very proud of it, but we'll stick with that. That'll work. It puts us in 9th, so we got a tough crowd here. I can see Yip is leading the way. He was involved in our setup session earlier today. He gave some great input and help on the car. You know, you talk about cars in Sims, not cars, but Sims. It's like each Sim sort of has their inherent qualities or inherent things that you need to kind of pay attention to. Sorry to reach over and put my bald head in the camera. I just want to see if I can get my other chat going so I can see it. It's going to be very hard to follow it. Oh, Taz, I'm sorry you weren't able to join. That's too bad, man. So we'll just stay here and wait for qualifying to finish up. And the race is short, so if you're joining, you're not going to be here long. It's a 20-minute race, and it'll go pretty quickly, and they've been very fun so far. No turbo. We don't have a turbo here today. ARC, too bad. Too bad. No, don't quit your job. Personal life is more important than sim life. And Sims it's going very well, except for I'm starting to get a little sick. It's been building up for a few days now. Anyway, and it's hot, so I'm a little under the weather and a little hot, and that'll be a factor for me. Luckily, it's only a 20-minute race. Thank you, Shane. Thank you. Yes. Make sure I have my setup loaded. Yeah, I didn't have it loaded. Look at that. So that was an improvement of me just driving the default set better than I had been. And, nope, we're still at 30 liters. Gosh, did I mess up my... This is not my setup. Uh-oh. Oh, I know what it is. That setup 2 is not the right one. That was something else. Load. There we go. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shane. I know, 2:39. Can you believe it? Let's look at this time. 2:39. I had heard 2:38 was even possible. He's at 2:39.0, so very slight improvement, and Cy Yip would have been into the 38s at Spa in a 330 horsepower car. So race should be coming through. We were running out of time as I pulled off the track, so it's letting people finish the hot laps. There we go. We're cycling through. And now we're going to get down to racing in just a moment. I'm going to take a swig of my beverage. Last wipe down of sweat. I'll wish a good luck to my competitors. All right, and now we're going to jump into the race. And one last time, thank you very much for joining the stream. I hope you enjoy the race from the entertainment side of things. I'm going to try to do a little over-braking for turn 1. I believe it was that blue car who I tanked yesterday. Not me today. Oh, no, 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 no. Come on. Hopefully that didn't hurt the car too bad. I did everything I could to keep it clean through there. Now I'm in race mode. I gotta remember to be smooth still, not get erratic and all frenzied just because I'm racing. Side-by-side racing, gotta love it. I had to go a little deeper than I really wanted to. Whoa! late. All right, there we go. Another spot up to 11th. Really easy to make a mistake on this car. Oh, terrible downshift there. I didn't match the throttle, locked up the rear end. That right there is why I'm not running the H pattern. I was having a lot of hard time doing exactly that with the H pattern. I'll work on it, but that was just me not blipping. That's what that looseness was. Oh, what was that, Cole? We're already inside of 15 minutes left. Really a super sprint race. Loose out there on that paint. I know I'm being a little quiet today, but if I don't concentrate, this car is a challenge. And our game is tougher today than it was yesterday. Much tougher crowd. Had over 51 drivers. Last I checked a few minutes ago, was 51 people signed up for tonight's race. So our crowd is building. That's fantastic. Oh, come on, no. So twitchy on that corner. That is absolutely the hardest corner on the track for me. Did it again. Come on. Not getting down to apex. You're fired. .245.6. I actually had to back off to not run into him there. He's going to protect inside. Smart. We're going to get a run, but not enough. Oh, he's going to yield. Awesome. Whoa. Ah! Sticky curb. Got to be careful if you touch that curbing, I tell you. Alright, smooth out. .244.6. Ah. Eight minutes and 30 seconds left in the race. Somebody had an issue going through Eau Rouge. That bluish car spun behind me. It's more like it. Still gonna swing wide because I really took a tight line for the second half. Sorry I'm being so quiet today, guys. This car takes more concentration, and a mistake is fatal. Who the hell is that coming from behind? You see how fast that guy's catching me, whoever that is? I don't think that's who I was racing with. Because I'm running faster, not slower. Three minutes left. Running really low on fuel. Looks like someone else had a problem in Eau Rouge, or they're out of fuel. That looks out of fuel. Wait. Oh, come on. You saw a puff of smoke. He got loose there, obviously. Ah, just crawling through here. I think it's just the vision. I hadn't seen the black car. I think it's the same car I've been dealing with all race. Little paranoia on my part, I guess, huh? 1 minute left. Looks like we're going to make one more lap. Whoa, way wide, way wide. This will be the final lap. I love that part. Eau Rouge. Such a fun part of racing. Another car running out of gas, it looks like. Oh, a little late on the brake. Not enough braking. Late, missed the apex by a mile. Really didn't want your brake squeal there. That corner has been hard for me today, too. Not normally, but this race, for some reason. Oh, got loose there. That didn't help. Whew! Alright, looks like we finished in 7th. Not bad. Not bad considering tonight's competition level. Ah, that was tiring. No, it wasn't tiring. It was exhilarating. And despite not feeling well and being really hot, that was fun. This car is a lot more demanding as a driver than that Miata. And not to take anything away from the Miata, because it's one of my favorite cars to race because of how intense the racing is. But that's what it brings to the table, is the racing. This car keeps you sharp as a driver. Oh, that's all I'm going to say. So, Sai ended up winning the race by 10 seconds. And, Let me just talk with these guys hard. That was Stan up ahead of me. All right. That was fun. That was really fun. Let me bring you guys up real quick so we can get going here. Wolf, you would have finished 23rd and there was only 19 racing. Very funny. Thank you, Marcos. Hey, and thank you. Yeah, Decenter, I am going to switch to the 8-shifter for my next race because that's, you know, kind of the way when you think of a 70s 911, it's an H pattern, and it's like no ABS, nothing to help you as a driver, and that's kind of the beauty. This to me, and I think that's why I've always kind of held on like the 70s and 80s eras of racing, is that it was when it was still so much on the driver. So much on the driver. A lot of the cars of the 70s and 80s didn't belong on a racetrack, to be honest with you. So, Michael, you got to try it. Assetto Corsa is really fantastic. It brings some great aspects. When I think of the world's best sim would be a pie, and I would take a certain amount of slices from each sim to actually make my favorite of the best sim. And Assetto Corsa is definitely responsible for a good portion of the pie. Thank you, ARC. Car's a bastard's ass. I think it is a distinct handling car, that is for sure. I love it. You gotta love and you gotta hate the Porsche. Max, thank you very much. I'm very proud of 7th place in tonight's field. Let's go through. Oh, it recycled. I can't give you the results. We can it might have posted on SRS, so we can leave the sim. Oh, I missed my chat opportunity. Sorry about that. I noticed Sai, so this is something you should know. Sai will be setting up a practice server all week long, he said. Sai won the race, one of the faster racers that I've seen in this series. So, well done. That's very cool. Glad to hear that. And Luciano, thank you very much. I'm pretty proud of tonight's effort. I'm actually loving this wheel, and I hate to say the word actually, I don't mean it quite like that, but I mean, I was on a direct drive wheel, not, you know, just last week, so this wheel is performing very nicely. I'm in headphones, so you guys will hear the noise it's making more than me, but it's pretty quiet now. It was pretty quiet in the setup, but I like this P1 upgraded, the CSL Elite P1 with the Alcantara is a really nice feeling wheel. It's still that plastic inside, so it's not as strong as like the BMW, the Porsche 918 rim, but I don't feel that at all when driving, and it's very it's a nice combination. This for the money is a great combination. Michael Rogers, how can you join us all while racing? Just wondering. We are running on Assetto Corsa, so that's a sim you can pick up on Steam. They have DLC downloadable content. There's one piece of that you will need. It'll cost you a little more money, like $6, and that's the Porsche Pack 1. That contains the car we're running. All of the tracks are included except for one, and that one's available for free at Race Department. So if you go to racedepartment.com, it might be .net, I think they're .com, you can sign up for an account there. It's free, and you can download Road America. Don't get it that way, though. What I really want you to do, and then the final step, is to join Sim Racing System. That's the matchmaking service that we're using for the race. So I want you to go to simracingsystem.com, and then go ahead and register for an account. You'll get an email. You'll have to verify your account, just like many things when you sign up. Once you do that, you can download the Sim Racing System app for Assetto Corsa. There are instructions there on how to install it. It's a little confusing when you first look at it, but I swear if you just read it and go through it step by step and do exactly what they say, it works out. So it's just an awkward read, I think, at first. But you install the app into Assetto Corsa. Then you fire up Assetto Corsa. Then you go into the Settings tab. You go to the General tab. You scroll all the way down to the bottom. And then you make sure that Sim Racing System app is checked on. So we're at 46 minutes, 19 seconds. If you need to hear that again, you can watch the replay of this race and scroll forward to 46.25. And that will take you right to where you need to be. Oh, okay. I'm glad you told me that. And again, this is sort of, I admit, this is a little bit of a learning curve for that next level stuff in Assetto Corsa. When I reviewed it, I mean, I gave this thing a full breakdown, but sims continue to develop and apps and things continue to get built, and learning all the things that you might not know when you're just doing a review offline on your own versus once you start running League. So I will not make that mistake again. I will send both files. So sorry, I wish I'd known, though. I would have got that to you. Scott, glad to hear your Rift is running better. Scott, I know Scotty works with me a little bit behind the scenes. He just got a 1080 Ti to run his Oculus Rift, and it sounds like it's running better. It is going to be all AC races with this series. I will pick a new season in iRacing, but like in the Mazda, it wasn't my intention, but I missed a bunch of races. It just, it was hard for me to always get in and race, and it's in iRacing. Someone asked me this yesterday, is it different intensity? No, the intensity, but the pressure of iRacing is very different because of the iRating and all of that. This I find I can jump into a little bit more casually, and that's kind of the mentality of the series, is more of a have fun, but it's turning out to be incredibly great racing and good pressure and quite intense. So Stan, yeah, I noticed you were, but yet enough, you look like in the end you're like, okay, as long as I can keep him this far back, I will be cool, and you timed it very well. I was trying a little too hard at the end, and actually was making a couple mistakes on my own. Oh, Andy, don't just do that. I mean, if you're doing it because the T500 is a great wheel. So you should be able to get good money. You know what? I'm not going to say that. They're all really good wheels. There are certain things that I can say. The CSL Elite is very smooth, and you can get a good amount of force feedback into it if you want. But the T500 is a great wheel. I wouldn't run away from it too quickly. And then you also got to consider the pedal scenario. Your T500 came with pedals. This doesn't. You need a whole setup or something to make your T500 pedals standalone. Charlie, hey, cool. You probably caught my least talkative live show yet. I was a little silent during the race because I was trying to concentrate so hard. And make a post on my forums and attach the setup file there. I can do that, Wolf. I can make sure to do that in the future, and I'll provide a link in the description, probably in the rebroadcast. We'll do a setup shop again, but I'm not going to do one next week, so I hate to let you guys down, but I'm not going to be in town next week. I'm leaving town, so there will be a reduction in all shows, and there will be no shows, not a reduction. Julian, that's a tough question. What pedals with the Elite, and then at that price does it depending on what wheel rim and pedals you put with the Elite, you could actually eclipse the price of the TSPC. The TSPC is a monster of a wheel. It's very strong, it's very high quality, great wheel. There's a touch of notchy. If you run low force feedback, actually it's not a matter of how, depending on how sensitive you are to the touch, you can feel that notchiness if you want to, if you try to, if you focus on it. That's the only complaint I have of the TSPC, and that's just me thinking in the mindset of people who are more sensitive than I am. I only feel it when I'm sitting in pit lane. I don't feel it on the track. But it's a super strong wheel, and in that argument, it's sort of like asking Ford versus Chevrolet. I did an interview with Mitchie Hoyer today. He runs a G25, not even a G27 or a G29, a G25, and he's like qualified into the world's fastest gamer final race. It's not the wheel, so that's where I come back to like that Ford versus Chevy. It's like there are people who like Thrustmaster. Why? Because of the settings and controls, because they understand the drivers, because they have other parts of the ecosystem. The CSL, same thing. There are people who love or hate the Fanatic, and they know and love the menu and the way it works, and so it's not as simple a question as just this versus that, to be honest. And if it comes down to a lap time shootout, the wheel is not going to make a difference as much as just how on your game, your ability, how on your game you are, and your setup are all worth more than your wheel, from everything from a TX, T300, G29, or a CSL Elite up. That's the best answer I can. That is the best real honest answer. Because again, I could have run on my direct drive wheel tonight and it would not have made a difference in the outcome of that race. I can guarantee you that. Now, I love my direct drive wheel. Don't misunderstand my statements at all. But it's an appreciation and just the little details, not the big details, which are lap times. Yeah, I know. I'm not looking. I'm actually torn because I'm looking forward to being out of town, but I don't want to miss next week's racing, so that kind of sucks. I wish there was an off week next week for me, just for me. I could have done that now. Yeah, the TSPC is a little bit expensive. It is, and it comes with that very unique wheel rim. So if you're already in the Thrustmaster family and you have, you know, I mean, in my case, I have like a 458 rim, I have a Formula 1 rim, so when getting that base, I could choose to use their, you know, unique Formula wheel, or I could go back to my traditional Formula wheel, or go to that 458 rim that I actually love quite a bit. Fanatic versus Thrustmaster reliability, I think, are pretty even now. You know, being very realistic based on community input, Fanatic had a little bit of a reliability issue in the early years, and that might have even extended as far as to the early V2 versions of the Club Sport wheel. But they were isolated cases. It wasn't like a plague of the entire lineup. Now, they're on their A game. Fanatic, everything I'm getting from Fanatic is really amazing. Everything I'm getting from Thrustmaster is really amazing. But if you dig through the forums, you're going to find people who've had problems with both. There's no denying that. These are, you know, electronic pieces of hardware made in China. You're going to find an issue here and there. But they are both really on their good game. And I'm not hearing enough problems for there to be concern. And they both are being good enough about representing their products that you shouldn't have a problem if you are one of the rare ones to have a problem. So I hope that answers that fairly. $500 budget for the PS4 and the PC. What wheel do I suggest? If you're going to spend every penny, I'd have to penny check. I would go with the CSL, with the CSL pedals, if you can get into that budget. You might just be a hair over, which then, you know, how do I compare that to like a T300, for example? Hamsterix, so is Mitchie Hoyer, and he is a finalist in it. And so, my only complaint of a G25, being very honest with the world, it only has 2 buttons. You got them on the you know, stick shift, so that's cool, the H pattern. And it's that whirling noise because they have the straight cut gears, and it's all woo. I think that's a pretty good impression of that wheel, by the way. That's my only complaint about the wheel. It's a little on the weak side compared to modern wheels, but a lot of people run low force feedback anyway, so it doesn't matter. Fanatic Club Sport 2.5 base, H-pattern shifter, V3 Club Sport, so nice. I upgraded from a G27 to this, and I love it. And my main thing about that is more that it resembles and feels in your hands more like Pro Gear. You'd have to answer how it affected your lap times, though. The load cell pedal might have made the biggest difference as far as lap time change, in my opinion. You know, let's be honest. Force feedback. The wheel only does so much in terms of interpreting. I mean, the game is sending the signals to a force feedback wheel much like it sends signals to a motion simulator. Yes, we can do things to fine-tune it, but generally speaking, a driver set from Fanatic or Thrustmaster is going to be very generic to cover all the sims you're going to play and all the scenarios you're going to do. The game is in control of the force feedback. What the wheel is offering is the smoothness, the stiffness, the power, the noise in the case of noisy wheels, and the fashion, the you know, the level of appreciation. Like, I mean, I could play golf with a set of Wilson clubs great, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to feel better if I have a bag full of Callaways. I can drive. I could have done the exact same race tonight on a G25 or G27, G29, but I enjoyed the feeling of this Alcantara a little bit more running on this wheel. That's what it boils down to a lot of times. And I'm not trying to discount high-end wheels. They are worth every penny. It's just the level of appreciation. I mean, the other thing you can find a Ferrari that does not outperform a Subaru WRX. Which would you rather have? Paulie, at $1,000, it's you know, fan favorite. I mean, I would probably recommend a Club Sport V2.5, probably Club Sport pedals and a wheel rim, and skip the shifter for now. Spend all your money on getting the best main part of the setup, and then ask for a shifter for Christmas is what I would probably do. And that's how I feel, Shane. They're a little more classy in look, and that makes a bigger difference for me in this whole conversation of verses. I'm not a huge fan of plastic, so I like this wheel. It performs great. I would rather see a Club Sport base. It's not even a matter of performance as much as what I want to see. But, you know, I do that. This is my main hobby. I want the best. So I think that's fair to want and demand that, to be honest with you. Yeah, you became more consistent, and I think that is where they have the edge, is maybe the consistency, and that's something Mitchie mentioned also. It's not the difference in lap times, it's the amount to repeat it over and over, and the finer your equipment is, it's helping you achieve that much better. More people at G25. T150, even that is a fine wheel. It's not terrible. It's weak, it's kind of fragile and gamey feeling. But, you know, functionally speaking, it gets the job done. And I would probably get the pedals before the shifter. That's me personally, but I didn't use my shifter tonight. Thank you, Ranger. We have a couple reviews in the works. The reviews will be more formal. This is informal. This is me sweating in front of you. This is me being sick in front of you. This is me unscripted. The reviews will be a little more, you know, tight and concise and better camera work and what you expect in the reviews. We have more of those coming. Yeah, now, Bucho, I think what you're saying is very valid, too. A lot of people who run super-duper strong force feedback, they're going to wear out low-end wheels very quickly. That's where the direct drive wheels come in. You're not going to wear them out. Yeah, and Wolf, good point. You'd actually need the clutch. The TMX comes with a 2-pedal set. Good point. So, I think we're kind of getting down towards the end here. We still have 60 people in here. I appreciate it. I'm surprised we still have 60 people here just for general chat. But we are talking hardware, so that's a great conversation. Excuse me. Yeah, Stuff Shark, that works great when you're on the console. Transitioning to the PC, you certainly, even or in the top tier games, you need to get on a wheel. Amazing the difference of it's really racing. Hey, Sai, I need to remember your names. Shut up, Foo. Shut up, Foo. Congratulations, you are a very fast Assetto Corsa driver. So, well done. Well done. You were very dominant. Won by 10 seconds, I believe, and only guy to break into the 39s on the brink of a 38. So, unbelievable. And thanks for the offer. I mentioned I saw it in the chat, but I didn't reply quick enough. But glad to hear that you have servers running during the week, and I told people about it. So, hopefully some people come practice with you as well. Yeah, thank you. I had a good race. I had a fun time and much better than I did yesterday. Same position results, but I think today was a tougher crowd, and my lap times were improved, and I was much more consistent. I didn't have any major mistakes. I had a bunch of little ones, nothing major though. And Waynard, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure, man. I love doing what I do. Love sim racing. I love this hardware. We talk hardware, and I mean, it's like when you say, what do you love? It's like, man, I love the Thrustmaster TSPC wheel. It's amazing. I mean, I started sim racing when wheels broke in 3 weeks. You know, like a Thrustmaster T1, you'd replace the bungee cord, you know, every 3 weeks on that thing if you were a league racer. So when we ask me about these wheels, it's like, oh, they're all amazing. It's like cars back in the 80s just broke down. Like, reliability of a street car was like an issue. Now, it's like, is there a car you buy that is just like a lemon? Like, a lemon law used to exist. I know they still do. But it's like, now they're just so good. Like, the worst car you can buy is a decent car. Maybe not glamorous or fancy or fast, but a decent car. So, and you can see Setup Foo, that is Sai, and he is hosting practice rooms all week long for this series, or at least in the Porsche 911 RSR. So you guys can get in there and do that. And you know, when you get into a public room, ask for help, talk to people, ask, hey, what are you guys doing for this, or is anybody else having breaking problem? You know, if you ask for your setup, people can be shy. Setup takes a lot of time. It's a currency. But if you ask for some basic advice, people are very, very generous. And sometimes that'll even lead to them sharing setups and things like that. So definitely join in for the practice, not just the races. And next week, like I said, I'm not going to be here next week. And I'm sorry about that. Unavoidable. I'm out of town on vacation. You guys got to have fun too. And then also, be sure to join this series. If you know, get in there next week with everybody and run with them. And the following week, I will do what I did earlier today. We'll do a setup shop again, and we'll kind of combine some looking at the track and looking for some time. And it'll be very informal, just like we did this morning. There was no structure to what we did today, and we were just kind of all over the place, but I think it was fun. A lot of people were there, and we did have a good time doing it. So we'll probably do something like that in 2 weeks. This might be my last show before I leave, not sure. Depends if there are any news topics. I'll cover them over the weekend. I might have one other video, regular video that comes out before the end of the weekend, but this might be it until I get back next week, which won't be until next weekend. So it will be a while. Longest break I've had from the show in a while. And like I said, I'm already regretting missing next week's race, but I'm looking forward to getting out of town. So it's all good. Anyway, we still have 67 people in here. I thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend. We're doing everything we can to grow the channel. Quite honestly, if this channel is going to exist, if this channel is going to thrive and get better and create more content, it's going to come through growth. If we don't grow, it's going to limit how much we can do and what we can do. So help us out there. Make sure you subscribe. Be sure to tell a friend. Spread the word. Drop our name in a forum. Tell them what we're doing. And if you ever have a suggestion for the show, what we can do different, what we can do better, or an idea for a topic of conversation. This started as a race and turned into a hardware conversation. I could just do a generic hardware conversation any day. But if there's a topic that you specifically want to talk about, let me know, please. I urge you. I'll give you credit for the idea. Send me an email, Sean, SHAUN, @thesimpit.com, and I'd love to add your ideas to the show as much as bring it out so everybody else can talk about it as well, just like we've done tonight, which is one of my favorite things to do. This is my absolute favorite part of the live show, is the ability to involve all of you in the show and answer questions or get feedback, or in the case of our setup shop, you guys help me with the setup as much or more than I did myself. And I think that's just a dynamic, wonderful thing, and I appreciate you all for being here one more time. It's the last time I say it. So I am going to bring today's show to an end, and again, I'll be signing off for an entire week. Thank you so much. Please go to simracingsystem.com and join in on this series. We're having a blast. We had 51 people racing today. The more people we get, the better it's going to get. So come on out and join us. It's a blast. Great car. A great list of tracks this season, and we're just having a good time. So thank you very much, Green Sammy. I appreciate that very much, and thank you all again for coming out. I said I wouldn't say it again, and I did. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.